superstar. He is an absolute superstar, Tom Mitchell.
Cripps at the back. Cripps is too good.
Neil, yes! Oh, how good was that?
All right, I've got my good mate, Jack Viney, from back in the day. Jack and I played for Ashburton Junior Footy Club from, I reckon, around under 10s onwards. Went to Carey Grammar together, so we've known each other, I reckon, since we were probably about 2, actually.
Mate, we went to Auskick together when I was... I used to go there as a young tacker. Mum and Dad got me out of the house.
Down at Nettleton Park.
I was there from a young age with yourself and
You're in the D's
Baz.
jumper. Yeah, that's right.
Baz had you in the Carlton
Yeah,
kit.
yeah, number 10.
So, yeah, Glen Iris days.
Yeah, they were good days. And, yeah, mate, we've pretty much been through our whole footy journeys together. So it's always good when we get the chance to catch up, and both living in Hawthorn now as well. So, yeah, if we take it right back to the beginning, there was the Auskick days where it really kicked off for us. And I guess from knowing you from a young age, you always wanted to make it in footy, and you always wanted to play for Melbourne. So it's pretty cool that you're living out your childhood dream, would you say?
Yeah, absolutely. And you were probably similar. Like, we followed our dads growing up, you know. I got some of my earliest memories are in the change rooms at the MCG, you know, smelling the deep heat and the oil, and seeing tape on the floor. So, you know, I probably took it for granted at that age, but that was just what we grew up around. And you want to be like your dad at that age, and then work out you've kind of got a bit of a talent for it, a bit of a knack for it, and it's something you do with your mates growing up. So, yeah, from a really young age, I mean, for as long as I can remember, I wanted to play AFL football.
Yeah, it's kind of unique how we both went on the exact same journey. You're a year younger than me, obviously, but like even throughout Ashy days, you'd have to play up in age with us because you were too rough for the kids. Do you remember that? Do you remember when you knew? I reckon there was a game early days at Ashy where because you've always been a good tackler and you must have nailed a few kids. Yeah. And then one of the parents has had a go at you and you had to come up in age and play with me and Toby.
Yeah, no, I was playing my age level at Ashburton Redbacks and at school footy, and there was probably, I can remember 2 instances where parents actually came onto the field at half time or quarter time and would actually have a go at me and, you know, tell me I was too rough with their son, or, you know, that kind of stuff. So I remember Mum and Dad kind of sitting me down and having a chat with the club and saying it's probably best we go up because, and Dad was like, Dad obviously being involved in football was like, this will be good for your development at the same time, playing with bigger bodies, and Mum was also like, Mum was a bit scared playing with the bigger bodies, but, you know, she didn't want to have those kind of that conflict. So got pushed up with yourself, Toby Green, a few stars. Didn't see the ball for a couple of seasons, but it was good development nonetheless.
Mate, Toby couldn't get in the midfield. He was off half back. You slotted straight in. Yeah. But yeah, with the tackling, it wasn't like they were unfair tackles. You were just, I don't know where you got it from. Yeah. Like, must have been, we used to watch Batman and Power Rangers when we were 2 and used to think we were...
practice all the WWE moves on the trampolines.
We loved that. And that's probably where it started. And then it was fair tackling. It was just, you were probably too strong for kids at a young age.
Yeah, from a young age, I've always been a physical person, and
I was on the receiving end of a couple.
I don't want to say aggressive, but I just enjoyed the physicality. Yeah. I was just physical, and I was a bit physical I was more developed in my physicality at a young age than other kids. You know, now it gets me in trouble every now and then, but
most of the time pretty good.
Most of the time it's, you know, everyone's on the same level.
Yeah, correct. I always like to think about that Ashy team we had, and we're obviously at Dill Buckley's studio here at Producy, and so one of the biggest junior rivalries in junior footy ever would have been the Ashburton versus Fitzroy rivalry. So in our team, we obviously had myself, Jack, Toby Green, Rupert Wills, James Toohey, Tom Curran went to North. So we had 6 drafted from our under-15s local team, which I don't know if that's ever happened ever. Like, so if 80 players get drafted in the 2011 draft or whatever it was, 6 of them were from the under-15s Ashburton team, which is unreal. And then obviously there was Bucks and Hal Hunter for Fitzroy, and they were some of the most heated games I reckon I've ever played in, like including AFL. Like, they were full on.
Yeah. You know, we're from kind of Glen Iris. It's pretty nice.
Private school boys.
Private school boys, and we're coming against like these, you know, Fitzroy, and that was when I was like, generally, that's the most scared I've ever been playing football. So coming up against some of these teams, like Hal Hunter was a massive unit back in the day.
Yeah, he used to nail players.
And yeah, like I don't remember too much from like under 14s, 15s, 16s, but I remember these battles with Fitzroy. And like you said, Dill Buckley, Hal Hunter.
Bucks was a star.
Yeah, I still remember the game at the grand final in Fitzroy.
Yeah.
And we couldn't get it done.
No, we
runners up,
never
which was a
won
shame.
with our team. We never won a grand final.
Yeah.
Which is
It's funny, like I in my school, my final year of school at Carey, under 12s, year 12, sorry, we had 5 drafted from the 1 year level.
I was going to chat to you about that as well. So obviously you were the year below me.
Yeah.
And the names in your year level were?
We had Jack McRae,
Yep.
Christian Jacks, Jason Ashby, Nathan Provat, and myself
yourself.
drafted. And we were pretty shit. We came like mid
Is that because
mid-pack.
you had to go to Vic Metro, or you just
Yeah.
or were you all playing still?
I mean, we still played enough football together with the school where we should have been.
What were the
up
15
there.
other blokes on the team doing?
Mate, there was a big drop off in talent. Yeah, it was just funny how that worked. Similar
Yeah.
to the Ashy stuff, like we probably should have dominated and just couldn't find a ways of getting it done.
It would have been
That's
good if
why
we
it's a
could-
team sport, Tommy.
True, that is. That's exactly why I was just thinking. It would have been cool if we could have merged a few of the year levels. Like I was obviously the year above you. Above me was Sam Crocker and Andrew Gaff, who
Yep.
both got drafted. So I feel like we could have made a Carey mega team. I feel like our best training for footy was actually on Sandal Oval at Carey, which you're gonna
Playing mug
love.
ball.
The amount of people that talk about the stories about Jack Viney and what did you call it?
Was it mug ball? I'm
Mug
pretty sure we
ball,
called it.
It was literally
Grab
a
up
mug
a
ball.
ball and run around
So
the
there'd
level
be
until
about-
someone drops you.
It'd be on the big athletics carnival days, and there'd be, I'm going to say 100 kids, and there was one ball, and everyone else trying to kill that guy with the ball. And so what would happen is the guy with the ball would weave through and eventually just get cleaned up, and then the ball would spill, and then someone else would go, and this would go on for like an hour. Anyway, I've got these memories in my head of Jack Viney. He would have the ball, but people would be running away from him, and you'd be running and pushing people over.
Yeah,
And
that
then-
was one of my favourite games of all time at school, and it was fun in like grade 7 and 8 because like the year 12s pick up the football and just try and run through you.
Yeah.
But then by the time you get to year 11 and 12, you're the big like no one wanted to play with you anymore. So
yeah.
after when you left to WA, the mug ball scene kind of
Did it
died
die
off a
off?
bit. Yeah,
That's
so
disappointing.
it was a real shame.
Probably never going to come back either.
Yeah, I think I retired at Carey Grammar, but no, it was the best fun.
That was great. Like those times playing school footy, I reckon is the most, apart from this year for me personally, but the most fun I've ever had in footy. Like when you rock up, you're playing with your mates, just such good memories. And obviously Carey's been good to you, and you know your wife Charlotte, who
Yep.
I'm friends with as well, and you've had 2 kids together. So with Miller and Chloe, your 2 daughters, how have you found that as well? Like being a dad, like because you were quite meticulous with your preparation. We were
Yep.
quite similar. Like you're very dedicated. I know what you like. But when the kids have come along, has that changed things? Have you had to, I guess, not prepare the same way as you would like to because you've got different priorities?
Yeah, I find this question semi-difficult to answer because in a lot of ways I don't feel like it's changed much of my preparation for footy. You know, you always hear stories about, you know, those intense footballers. They have kids and all of a sudden they're much more relaxed. And I definitely feel like there's only so many hours in a day you get, and I do have to get home and help out Charlotte,
Yeah.
to put the kids to bed and, you know, give her a chop out because as hard as I think my job might be, being at home trying to raise 2 kids, that's the real challenge. But I still feel like there is a real level of dedication. I can still, you know, kind of commit to footy and do all my extras. You probably get more productive and efficient at it, I think, with kids. Instead of kind of maybe fluffing around, taking an hour to do your extras, you're in there punching out in 20 minutes.
Yeah.
So I feel like
No
there's
table tennis at the club.
no table tennis. It's get your shit done
Yeah.
and get out. And that's probably looking at, like, we've got a lot of professionals at our footy club, but I do see them fluffing around and probably that's since having kids. I find areas of my day where I know I can condense it,
Yeah, smart.
get real.
I'm probably still in that phase where I'm putting up jump shots till 5 p.m.
Oh, we got like Christian Sale and Bailey Fritsch at the club. They like they were the last to leave, but they played table tennis with each other for like a good hour and a half at the end of the day.
Yeah, we're the same. We got a table tennis crew, a basketball crew, and sometimes just a spa crew. Blokes that some probably have families and just sit in the spa for another 2 hours.
Oh, don't get me wrong. There are times where it's like, I might stretch this
Another
ice
half.
bath out for a little longer because I know the shit show I'm going to back at home. But yeah, I also got to remember Sharp's probably at home struggling, trying to hold a head above
You just
water.
don't want it to have a hold of the schedule where it says, you said you finish at 3. And
Oh,
you're
that's the worst thing. The girls have, like, all the kind of partners have their own WhatsApp group and, you know, obviously communicate with each other, and they'll, when did your boy get back today?
Your days are done.
It gets stitched up, so.
Your days of all the co-curricular activities, basketball, table tennis are done, I reckon.
Yeah, if here's some stories of guys saying, you know, I've got meetings all day and this and that, and it's actually a half day, and the boys take the golf
Play
kit.
golf,
Take the golf kit in and
Yeah.
go for a few rounds.
Yeah. What about when you see, I always see Miller in her Melbourne jersey with a number 7 on her back. When you see her, like she was on the ground on the weekend when you're running out, that must be pretty amazing feeling. Have you run out together before? Have you had a milestone yet?
No, not yet. No, my next one will be 200, which will be not this year, maybe next year, hopefully.
What are you on? How many games?
180, I think, 181
I'm
or
about
2.
the same as you.
Yeah. So it's something that, you know, I love involving Miller and my family in my career as much as I can, and getting them involved. I think it's probably my number one driving factor is, you know, I feel like football creates memories and things to go home and talk about. So, you know, I love just getting them involved whenever I can.
No, it's unreal. It's unreal. I think you can definitely see that in the way that you interact with Miller, and Chloe's going to get that same experience. Hopefully, can play for another, what do you got left in you? 5, 10?
Hopefully more. Hopefully plenty more,
Yeah.
Tommy, but
Throw a few more
we'll
years
see.
on the contract. Yeah.
Yeah.
What about, and obviously your brother Max, who he's had a fair bit of airtime recently with the Jiu Jitsu stuff, and myself and yourself have been lucky enough to go down there and do some training with him, particularly throughout the preseason. Christian Petrarca, Scott Pendlebury, some pretty big names down there with Maxi. What are the benefits you find of doing the JJ? Because you obviously got an interest in martial arts, and you've dived right into it. What are you finding in your game, and what are you working on in that area?
Yeah, I think with football, there's certain things we work on to an elite level, and I feel like it can kind of create some deficiencies in other areas. Like, you can't focus on, a vast, a lot of different things, a lot of different areas. It's really specific to how do I get the best, how do I get stronger, how do I get faster. But probably like the mobility and, flexibility and that kind of stuff's probably gets left to the side a little bit. And that's something that seeing Max do his thing in jiu-jitsu and seeing how he's able to move and how strong he is in certain positions, it's like I can bench 100 plus so kilos, I can squat this much, but he's actually stronger than me in a lot of functional ways.
I'm so glad you said this, because I've been on this path for quite a while.
Yeah, I know you're really into it.
Yeah, and some of the strongest players I've played with, whether it be Buddy Franklin, Josh Kennedy, who was arguably the strongest stoppage player, these guys don't lift weights.
Yeah.
And, you've obviously been big on weights throughout your career, but I see so many guys who barely lift an upper body weight, and they're the strongest ones.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's what I look at Max, and that's what I see in Max is how strong he is in positions where I should be stronger. Like, for what I do and my job, I should be strong in these areas. And then what comes with that, obviously, is like the body contact and feeling comfortable in close areas, I think is, invaluable for what we do as well, because we find ourselves in those kind of positions. Yeah. So, I've loved working with Maxi. Done a couple of sessions with yourself, track.
We'll split you open in one session in the sparring.
A little bit of I
won't tell everyone what the score was, but I'll split you open. So
that's all that matters. But love doing that kind of stuff. Like, so got a bit of an interest in the MMA,
on the mats,
grappling stuff.
It's good, isn't it?
Yeah,
less load on your body as well. I find it so applicable as well, especially with the takedowns and the tackling. But even like, obviously we're ground level players, like being able to find ways to get up off the ground quick, because I'm not sure how many times you'd hit the ground per game, but it's a lot. And if you're saving seconds here and there, it's got to add up over the course of a game, and you're doing it efficiently.
Yeah, and just like the energy required to play our role, or just play AFL in general. Like any little bit of efficient, like where you can save energy and be more efficient, it just goes. Yeah, it's going to help you win the next contest, and that could be a game changer or a momentum shifter. So. Yeah, it's really important to get kind of efficient with our movements, and Jiu Jitsu does that so well.
Yeah, it does. What was Maxi's? He won the Australian Championship, didn't he?
Yeah, I mean he's done. They kind of have different tournaments, like state champs or like Asia Pacific or different. I don't know what the names are, but yeah, I'm pretty sure he's won state. The state champs in his division, and in kind of like no gi and gi. There's
we'll chat about that off air. You lost me a bit there.
Where like they wear the robes,
or
they're just in kind of like the skins outfit. Just kind of different categories, but yeah, he's now a black belt, which has taken him kind of 11, 12 years to do. He's the youngest. Like when he was getting awarded his black belt, like they kind of get all the other black belts out the front of the gym. And he was the youngest by far, so he's done an amazing effort to get it.
He's so passionate, and he's even working with AFL clubs now as well, like doing some stuff with the female teams. At
He did some stuff with the AFLW Collingwood team, and he's obviously been working with a few AFL players. And I think there's like huge scope for it in AFL, but especially because of the tackling stuff. Like guys getting suspended at the moment. I feel like there's not real. Because we've been taught to tackle and play footy a certain way, and now we're kind of getting told that way is going to get us in trouble.
Well, the chicken wing tackle was, you were the master of it. You were very good at it. But that was a way to almost ensure you got a hold of the ball free kick for you. And now it's the one thing that it's actually going to cost you weeks playing.
Suspended.
Yeah.
And I think when the AFL or the rules come in to say, all right, well now if you've got an arm pinned, you can't. The onus is on the tackler to not follow through with it, or whatever they are saying that we should do. It's like in the heat of the moment, like what are you going to resort back to? It's what you've been trained, and the habits you've developed over years and years of doing a certain technique or an effort. So I feel like with what Max does, it's actually teaching people how to hit the ground safe.
Certain techniques to pull people to ground that's not going to cost you weeks, but it's still an effective way to get the ball back or to cause a stoppage, because the last thing you want to do is not go through the tackle, then they get it out, and then your coach is probably like, why didn't you execute the tackle? So it's a fine line, isn't it?
Yeah, we need to train it, and like it needs to be trained at like I feel like there needs to be like a whole new kind of reconstruction of like Auskick level tackling. Like what are we doing at junior levels to develop it, so when these future stars come into the game, they're already been taught. When you get someone in chicken wing, you can't just dump them on the ground.
For sure. And you've probably been on the receiving end of a few big hits in your career as well. Like you would have had a fair few concussions, I assume.
Yeah. No, I've had plenty.
Have you noticed any effects with concussion at all? Or have you been more susceptible to getting them since they've accumulated? I don't know if I've had one.
I'm nervous. Like I've been someone that has had concussions in the past, and I've definitely felt effects linger for weeks, like headaches and that kind of stuff. I don't notice any kind of real side effects now, having not had a head knock for a while, but when they do come on, they are pretty scary, and it's like, wow, am I going to have this headache for ever or years or whatever? It's certainly something as I get older, I become more aware of, cautious of.
No, it's interesting.
Have you had many concussions?
I don't know. I probably got.
You don't know? That's not a good answer.
Yeah, none that stand out. I reckon I would have had a few about 5 years old when we were dressed up as Batman and Robin and used to kick the shit out of me.
Yeah.
Although, actually, here's a funny story. I don't know if we probably told this one before, but we were at we used to go to like Crash together.
Yeah.
And I was Batman, you were Robin. We dressed up, and I think we got kicked out of Crash because we'd literally go around sorting kids out for no reason.
terrorising
Yeah,
kids.
terrorizing everyone. We were those kids that all the other parents hated. So anyway,
Or was it I reckon it was my 8th birthday. I had like a footy party.
Yeah.
And was it Brandon who smashed your head into the door?
yeah.
That was probably your first.
that's right. I remember that. It was at your house, Howard Street,
Yeah.
Glen Iris.
We're walking out the door to go to the park to
We're
kick
all
the footy and
yeah,
whatever.
We were street fighters at 5 years old, and family friend of ours, Corey and Brandon Jackson.
Yeah, he just
He just decided to smack
flip
my
the
head on the
switch and then smash your head into the door on the way out.
and then
You
it was
end up
on. So
cut-
that would have been a
cut-
concussion. So
yeah,
to answer
yeah.
your question, yeah, I've
Cut
had
you
one.
open,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. What about, so you're very passionate in the martial arts like we touched on. You love watching the UFC.
Yeah.
I'm actually chatting with Alex Pereira later today.
Wow.
What can I
He's a big dog.
Yeah, he is. I won't be challenging him, don't worry. What should I ask him? What would you ask him? Because he beat Adesanya. He's beaten him 3
did.
times.
Yeah. I'd just be interested, like, because he was obviously like such a high level. I think he was like kickboxer,
Yeah.
Muay Thai. I'm not sure where he's,
That's his
but
background.
like why it took him so long to come to the UFC. Like,
Mm.
I think it was only like kind of like the last couple of years he
Yeah.
has joined the UFC.
So I've been doing my research because I'm like, I don't want to go into a meeting with Alex Pereira and not
Yeah,
be
you
prepared.
want to know. You don't want to know what you're talking
I
about.
don't need those scary eyes on me. So apparently, when he was winning kickboxing fights, he was making about 20,000 per win.
Yeah. Okay.
And then after he beat Adesanya, Israel Adesanya, and then he transitioned to martial arts, went to UFC. His first fight he won 500k. And then as soon as Pereira saw that, he's like, oh, I'm doing the wrong sport here, because he's come from the slums of Brazil
Yeah. Yeah.
and like done it the hard way. He was addicted to alcohol at 13 years old. Somehow got his way out, and then that's how he got out of it. But who are your other favorite fighters in the UFC? Who do you love to watch?
Oh, I reckon the person who got me into UFC was a guy called George St. Pierre,
Yeah.
GSP.
Yeah.
And I loved him because he was a gun, but he was also like the only, like,
He was a gun.
he was a beast. He just killed people, but also, you know, you kind of watch the behind the scenes stuff, and like fighters were kind of like a dumb, kind of like, yeah, they were just like weren't the smartest people.
Mm.
But when you looked at GSP's behind the scenes stuff, he was like drinking coconut water because of he thought that would give him an edge, and doing all of these things to try and get the best out of himself. So I loved GSP, and then obviously Conor McGregor when he hit the scene. I loved his shit talk, and
What about him as a fighter?
yeah, I
Still
loved
loved
how
him, yeah.
he fought. He's probably gone off the rails a bit the last few years.
He looks like he's jacked up heaps as well.
Yeah,
He
yeah.
looks
There's a lot
massive.
of commentary around,
Steroids.
like even his face, like his face has gotten like bigger
Jaw.
and jaw and stuff.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I don't know what steroids and that kind of stuff actually do to you, but
Yeah.
there's a lot of commentary around that.
Yeah.
But just like even around Conor McGregor, like the way he manifested his own career, how confident he was in himself, similar to Alex, like he came from nothing, and now he's kind of the biggest name in combat sport. So
Yeah. Do you reckon he fights again?
yeah, for sure. I think
Yeah.
he's got to fight Michael Chandler because he's part of the Ultimate Fighter.
True. Oh, is that a part of it? So the
Yeah,
coaches
so
will
they
fight each other.
coach.
And is he good, Chandler? I don't know a lot
Yeah,
about him.
yeah.
He's good.
Yeah, no, he's one of the most entertaining fighters. He always puts on a massive bang fest.
So he'll just either get knocked out or knock someone out.
Yeah,
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
He's I think he's lost maybe his last fight or the fight before that, but against good opponents, and it's been like the most some of the most entertaining fights over the last couple of years.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
either way, it's going to be an absolute
Yeah,
spectacle.
that'll be one to watch. Is that something on your bucket list one day to get to a UFC card? Post footy, would you like
Yeah,
to go see
yeah.
one?
Yeah, I even talking to a couple of guys. Like I reckon, I'd love to not do UFC. That's not gonna happen.
Compete?
Nah, yeah, but I'd love to. Like I reckon box.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
funny you say that. I went to the boxing last
Yeah.
night.
How was it?
It was actually really good, but it was fireworks. Like, so one of the fights was Cam Mooney versus Tom Bellchambers.
Yeah.
So footy fight, Cam Mooney got knocked out, but he was 20 kilos lighter.
That's a huge difference.
Yeah. I think Dane Swan's done a few fights. Mate, you're the one to do it, I reckon.
Well, I'm just like from
Because you train a lot with boxing.
Yeah,
Like,
I love.
You train most
I
weeks with
train-
boxing, don't you?
Yeah, every week I box. Go to my day off. I go to boxing gym, and
Is that like a hard workout or is it more technique?
it's probably I go in there for like a short blowout. So I'll go in there and work really hard for a short amount of time, just kind of blow my lungs up a little bit. I enjoy the technical aspect of boxing, but I do use it to like enhance my footy. I'm not kind of training it to be like a professional boxer, but just like from a bucket list point of view, like to get in the ring and be like,
mate, I'll come watch you.
Yeah,
I won't fight you, but I'll come watch you.
I'm just like, whether you get knocked out or you knock someone out, like, that'd be pretty like.
Well, if you're a bit strapped for cash post footy, that could be your go, I reckon.
No, I'd get the heart rate going for sure.
Yeah, I won't be doing that. Yeah, I actually did get offered. This might have been a year or two ago, to do a boxing match. I think it was through my management, and the fee was pretty decent.
Really?
They wanted me to fight some guy from the NRL, like have like an AFL versus NRL. Right. And I've got a bit of a dud shoulder. I was like, oh, no, probably not.
Fighting an NRL guy too, like
that'd be a bit crazy.
Yeah, they're big units.
Anyway, maybe I'll throw your name in the ring for that.
We'll see.
Yeah. What about other interests outside of footy? Big on your gaming as well. What games are you on? What games are you on at the moment?
Oh, I enjoy my gaming. It's probably something that has taken since having kids, and
so that's where the sacrifice is.
Yeah, that's where the sacrifice has been made. The gaming's taken a hit. Although, like when I do still get time to switch off, I do like to jump on my PC or play the Nintendo. So at the moment, probably the game I've spent most time on over the years is Destiny 2, and I'm playing a bit of Zelda at the moment on the Nintendo.
Zelda?
Yeah, Zelda.
What was the one we used to play at your house? This is going to test your memory. Would have been at 4 or 5. I don't know what it was on. It was like there was like a blue dragon.
Spyro.
We used to love Spyro.
Spyro was epic.
Yeah.
Probably on the PlayStation 1 days.
Yeah, with Tony Hawk and Spyro.
Yeah. Good memory.
Yeah, it is. What about you? Not into the sporting ones like FIFA, 2K, more the.
Yeah, I don't really like the sporting games. Yeah. I'm more like.
What's Disney? What's that? Disney? What is that? Is it
Destiny. Destiny. It's like they made Halo. The same guys who made Halo. So it's like
Halo
alien shooters.
Halo was elite.
Like guns.
Yeah.
Sci-fi, like out of this world kind of stuff. Bit of escapism.
Cool.
Kind of setup.
Yeah.
Other than that, like kind of on my days off, hence the attire.
Mate, you're looking better than me. I'm in my trackies here.
Yeah, spending a bit of time kind of heading into the city, looking at what I might enjoy to do, what I might want to do post football. I finished a degree in commerce, majoring in finance.
So you've done that throughout your footy career. You've
Yeah,
chipped away at it. That's pretty good effort.
Yeah, it took me like 9 years
Right
to do studying. So now I'm kind of like, what's next? Like I don't want to just get a degree and just have the piece of paper in the study. Like I want to use it.
Still looks good though.
Yeah, it looks good and massive. Like super, proud of that because it was a grind, particularly kind of during COVID and whatnot.
Yeah.
But speaking to a few different people in finance about what's out there, what I might like to do post footy. So that's kind of where I'm at now. Is
the clubs are pretty good like that these days, aren't they? I reckon from when we were first drafted, like so much time and energy putting into helping guys transition.
Yeah, absolutely.
Out of footy.
The clubs and even the PA, AFLPA.
Yeah.
Like it is really daunting for AFL players to exit the system.
Yeah, well, the average career is still around 3 years. Like there's so many players that are in and out. We've been quite lucky.
Yeah.
Not everyone's that lucky.
And you think about it, like 3 or 4 years, you're like fully dedicated to footy.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, your friends are going to uni, starting jobs.
Yeah.
And it's like you come out 3 or 4 years later, 10 years later, it's like, well, and for me, like we've been in it for 10 plus years. It's like when we finish, unless we stay in footy, do we go start with the other 22-year-olds coming straight out of uni?
Mate, well, I've done that because I was chipping away at a uni before ball magnets. I was chipping away at a uni degree. I was doing one subject a semester, so very slow. And I was going to classes where it was first year kids in uni just straight out of school, and I was like just some random like 26-year-old. I was like, what's this guy doing?
Yeah, lucky I did mine all online, so I didn't get to see because I probably would have given it up as well.
Yeah.
But that's why I'm chipping away. It's trying to speak to people, build relationships now because, we've built so many traits playing football at an elite level
Yeah,
that
it's a lot
I
of
feel like
discipline
can
and hard work.
it can translate into a corporate business.
For sure.
Well,
We better touch on the footy briefly as well. So one of the games I'm super excited for is Queen's birthday, or King's birthday now, which
2
you would have
weeks
played.
away.
Is it 2? Yeah, it's getting close.
3 maybe.
Yeah, maybe 3 weeks. I'll try and get you sick today with that cough I've got. What is that one of your favourite games on the calendar? Because like being at Collingwood this year, I've noticed that there's been some big games, but Queen's birthday is another one. Like similar to Anzac Day, that is one on the calendar where there's no other teams playing on that Monday. How have you found that experience of that game, and especially with the Neil Danaher effect with MND and everything the day means to a lot of people? Like, have you really enjoyed that day the last few years?
Yeah, absolutely. It's we probably don't play in as many big games as you at Collingwood, mate, but it's a huge one for us, and having Neil's MND is kind of getting the better of Neil now, but in the past Neil's come in to speak to us during the week and always been so inspirational, and the cause he's driving and his family are driving, it makes for a massive game for a massive cause. And there's 2 teams that are going to be up top end of the ladder on the King's birthday, so it's going to be a massive game. I saw something on our socials; it's sold out.
Is it?
Yeah.
What's the
I
crowd
think
normally?
General admission or something sold out.
That's awesome. What is it normally? 80 plus?
Yeah, I'm not sure, mate, what the actual crowd is, but depending on kind of how both teams are going.
Both teams are going well, so
both
it should
teams
be
are
a good
going
one.
strong, and
Yeah.
it'll make for, I reckon, one of the biggest games of the season.
Yeah, it'd be huge,
which
won't
is
it?
exciting.
It'd be huge. And you've obviously achieved so much in your footy career, the obvious ones, win more premierships and things like that. The grand final you played in, maybe we just quickly touch on that because your game in that game was unbelievable. But had the most clearances ever in a granny.
Oh, really?
I think so. I think I've seen that.
Oh, wow.
So well done.
Thank you. I didn't know that.
What about that whole experience of winning one and then, being in the hub, being over in Perth, talk about your emotions winning it because it's a childhood dream?
Yeah. Oh, it was amazing. When I started with the D's, I think we won 2 games my first year. So we were like really bad. Lost our coach halfway through the year. The fans were pretty disenchanted with the footy club at that point. So, we really did start from the bottom and then slowly, built some strong foundations at the club and just built, and then kind of had like a little mini peak in 2018 when we made a prelim kind of out of nowhere, then dropped back down, and then, along the journey felt like, damn, like we got to work bloody hard to even make finals and then to get to a granny. I think at the end of the prelim, I pretty much cried because I was like, I don't know if I ever play in a prelim again. So it's like, as hard as you work, there's a strong chance you might not ever win a flag. No matter how hard you try, there's so many things that need to go right at the right time of the year, on the right day of the year to win a flag. So then to actually get it, in 2021 when we went over to Perth, in a hub, or over there for 5 weeks, no family, no nothing, which I enjoyed that aspect of it because it felt like we're on a mission here. Like, you've been sent in, you've got maximum 5 weeks, you know how long you're going to be there for, and it's like, all right, now we just fully lock in. So we were really committed, super locked in, and then the day, it's all a bit of a blur, but I remember at half time we got a good start against them in the first quarter, and then the second quarter they got right back in, had all the momentum, and I sensed a little bit of panic at half time, which made me a bit nervous, but luckily end of the third we were able to kind of really get a roll on, get a strong win the flag, and then I had to get drug tested straight after the game, so I was.
So you couldn't celebrate.
I wasn't really celebrating.
And you would have been so dehydrated as well.
Yeah. Well, the kind of the drug testers come up to you and say, look, you've got a test, and it's up to you. You can kind of like, you can do it whenever you want. But I was like, let's go like right now, because I thought if I got in early, I'd get it done quick, and I'd get back to celebrating. Yeah. So I was like, let's go right now, get it done. And then I got in the room. There's like 2 doggies players.
Oh no, you're in the queue.
Michael Hibbard's already in there. I'm like, I sat there for an hour while everyone's in the change
So you
rooms.
missed a good hour.
I missed a good hour of celebrating
Yeah.
like straight after the song, which was devastating. But
You would have had a good week or so after that to really enjoy
some of
it.
the best fun I've ever had in my life.
Yeah. Where'd you go after? Because you're in Perth.
Yeah, we stayed there for like 4 days,
Yeah.
4 or 5 days. So, it really was just, go and have fun.
Yeah, yeah.
Because back here in Melbourne was still COVID
Lockdown.
restrictions. The only thing that was a bit of a sour note was our families weren't there to celebrate. And I remember FaceTiming my Charlotte and my dad and my mum, my brother, and that was a bit sad.
The ones that have been with you on the journey. Yeah.
Not having them there to celebrate the biggest high of what we do was a shame, but makes it all kind of more motivating to try and do it again.
Yeah, for sure. What about any moments from the game itself that stand out where you're like, that moment was when I realised we had it, or that moment was when I realised we've gained momentum or lost momentum? Is there something from within the game that stands in your mind?
Probably got like 2 kind of moments from the game. Like I distinctly remember, I mentioned it a little bit before, but like coming in at half time, we're kind of like to stay kind of cool, calm and collected. Like no matter the scores, it's like, we know what the solution is to get back on track, and we're calm about that. And I just remember coming at half time and like everyone was talking. Everyone was like, let's go boys, like we've got to do this, we've got to do that. I was like, this is panic. This is not what we've been like all year. And I was a bit nervous, and then I just remember Goody bringing us together before you run out, and he pretty much gave us like 2 focuses, and they were like all strategic. Like it was all strategic. It was not emotional, and I think that kind of calmed the group. And then it was just about action. No more talking, no more panic. It was about, all right,
Execute.
super clear on the action. Let's go execute. And then like the second time was like when we knew the game was iced. Like I remember, Christian Petraka going to Stephen May and myself. It's like, boys, smile. Like this is like mid play, Bulldogs are kicking it to a contest down the line, and Track's just like party time. And he's telling myself and Maisie to smile, and
You're
Maisie,
still locked in.
Maisie and I are both like, Track, shut the fuck up, like get into position.
Yeah.
And it was just like, it was just like Maisie and I being the kind of individuals we are, then Track being the complete opposite.
Yeah.
I just remember that standing out on the day, like.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. Though.
Until the siren goes, I'm playing it out.
Even if you're up by 60 points, it's not over till it's over.
Yeah, exactly.
No, that's unreal insight, Vines, mate. Thanks so much for jumping on the potty today. I've really appreciated and loved our friendship from when we were little kids till now. So really appreciate it, mate. Looking forward to watching your boxing career post-footy. Better start training now. I'll come watch you. I'll be in the... When you walk out, I'll be one of the blokes, in line, like the support crew walking out.
Yeah, you can be in my corner.
Yeah, I'll be in the corner just yelling out stuff. But, mate, thanks so much and great to chat.
No, thanks, Tommy. Thanks for having me on.
Legend.